Welcome to Angel Wings Productions.
Book of Enoch, Chapter 3, Book of Enoch. All who are in the heavens know what is transacted there. They know that the heavenly luminaries change not their paths, that each rises and sets regularly, every one at its proper period, without transgressing the commands which they have received. They behold the earth and understand what is there transacted from the beginning to the end of it. They see that every work of God is invariable in the period of its appearance. They behold summer and winter, perceiving that the whole earth is full of water, and that the cloud, the dew, and the rain refresh it. Book of Enoch, Chapter 2, Book of Enoch. Behold, he comes with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon them, and destroy the wicked, and reprove all the carnal for everything which the sinful and ungodly have done and committed against him. Quoted by Jude, VSS 14:15. Deep Dive. Book of Enoch, Chapters 2 to 3, Questions and Analysis. Chapter 2, The Natural Order as Divine Testimony. Key Theological Questions Q1. What is the primary rhetorical function of Enoch's appeal to nature in Chapter 2? Enoch uses nature as a witness against human rebellion. The natural world serves as a silent but powerful testimony to divine order and obedience. Unlike humans, all natural phenomena consistently fulfill their appointed roles without deviation. This creates a stark contrast that indicts humanity's disobedience while establishing the reliability of God's cosmic governance. Q2. How does the concept of appointed times, seasons, function theologically in this passage? A. The appointed times represent divine sovereignty over temporal reality. Each natural element, sun, moon, stars, seasons, operates according to predetermined divine decree. This suggests that time itself is not random but purposefully structured by God. The reliability of these cycles becomes evidence of God's faithfulness and a rebuke to those who live as if divine order doesn't exist. Q3. What is the significance of the signs mentioned in relation to celestial bodies? These signs serve multiple purposes. They mark time, provide navigation, and most importantly, they constitute a form of natural revelation. These signs are accessible to all humanity and provide constant testimony to divine order. They function as a universal language through which God communicates His presence and reliability to all cultures and generations. Literary and structural analysis questions Q4. How does the repetitive structure observe, consider, see function rhetorically? A. The repetitive imperatives create an intensifying pattern that builds toward the chapter's climax. Each observe command adds another layer of evidence for divine order. This structure mimics pedagogical techniques used in wisdom literature, where repeated observation leads to understanding. The accumulation of evidence makes the final indictment of human disobedience more powerful. Q5. What role does contrast play in Chapter 2's argument? A contrast is fundamental to the chapter's logic. The consistent obedience of natural elements is juxtaposed against implied human disobedience, made explicit in Chapter 3. This binary opposition, nature's faithfulness versus humanity's rebellion, serves to highlight the moral gravity of human choices and the unnaturalness of sin. Chapter 3, The Indictment of Humanity Anthropological Questions Q6. What does Chapter 3 reveal about the Enochic understanding of human nature and responsibility? Asterisk. Humans are portrayed as uniquely capable of moral choice, but also uniquely prone to rebellion. Unlike natural elements that automatically obey divine decree, humans possess agency that allows for disobedience. This capacity for choice makes humans both more privileged, they can consciously choose obedience, and more culpable, they can consciously choose rebellion than the rest of creation. Q7. How does the phrase, "you have not been steadfast," function in the broader theological framework? A. Steadfastness represents covenant faithfulness and reliability. By lacking steadfastness, humans fail to fulfill their role in the cosmic order. This language echoes prophetic literature where covenant unfaithfulness is described in terms of instability and inconsistency, contrasting with God's unchanging nature. Eschatological questions Q8. What are the implications of humanity fearing neither God nor being ashamed before Him? A. This describes a complete breakdown of proper relationship with the divine. Fear of God represents both reverence and awareness of divine judgment, while shame indicates moral consciousness. The absence of both suggests humanity has lost its spiritual sensitivity and moral compass, making them spiritually dead despite being physically alive. Q9. How does the natural world's obedience relate to eschatological themes in 1 Enoch? The natural world's consistent obedience serves as a standard by which human behavior is measured in divine judgment. It also prefigures the cosmic restoration where all creation, including redeemed humanity, will operate in perfect harmony with divine will. The natural order becomes both judge and model for the eschatological kingdom. Comparative questions Q10. How do these chapters relate to similar themes in canonical biblical literature? These chapters echo several biblical themes. Psalm 19, nature as divine revelation. Romans 1:18-20, creation as testimony against human rebellion. Jeremiah 8:7, animals knowing their seasons while humans don't know God's ordinances. Job 38-41, divine speeches using natural order to humble human pride. However, 1 Enoch develops these themes with greater cosmic scope and apocalyptic urgency. Q11. What distinguishes the Enochic approach from other Second Temple period texts? Unlike texts that focus primarily on Torah observance or temple worship, 1 Enoch emphasizes cosmic wisdom accessible through observation of nature. This democratizes divine knowledge. It's available to all who observe carefully, not just those with access to specific texts or institutions. Theological synthesis questions Q12. What is the relationship between cosmic order and moral order in these chapters? A cosmic order serves as the foundation and model for moral order. The reliability of natural law demonstrates that divine governance is trustworthy and that order, not chaos, represents God's will. Human moral behavior should mirror the consistency and obedience seen in nature. Moral rebellion thus represents not just personal sin, but cosmic disorder. Q13. How do these chapters establish the authority for Enoch's subsequent revelations? By demonstrating that divine truth is embedded in observable reality, these chapters establish that those who carefully observe and understand nature can receive divine revelation. Enoch's authority stems not from institutional position, but from his superior understanding of cosmic patterns that others have failed to perceive. Q14. What does this text suggest about the nature of divine judgment? A divine judgment is portrayed as natural consequence rather than arbitrary punishment. Just as natural elements that deviated from their appointed courses would bring cosmic chaos, human deviation from moral order brings spiritual and eventually physical destruction. Judgment represents the restoration of proper order rather than vindictive punishment. Hermeneutical questions Q15. How should modern readers approach the scientific assumptions underlying these chapters? These chapters reflect ancient cosmological understanding, but their theological message transcends specific scientific models. The core insight that observable patterns in nature reveal divine character and provide moral instruction remains valid, regardless of whether one accepts ancient or modern. Astronomy. The text invites readers to see the natural world as revelatory rather than merely mechanistic. Q16. What contemporary applications might these chapters have? These chapters challenge readers to recognize divine revelation in natural phenomena, consider ecological responsibility as moral obligation, Understand human uniqueness in terms of moral agency rather than dominance. See consistency and reliability as virtues that mirror divine character. Appreciate the interconnectedness of cosmic and moral order. The text ultimately calls for a reintegration of natural and moral wisdom, suggesting that careful observation of the world around us can inform and correct our spiritual understanding. If this wasn't any use to you and you like the content, please like and subscribe.